Alright guys, here I am getting my camera set up and getting in my boat at the paddle round the island this past Saturday, June 5th, 2021. This is the first time this race was ever held. It's in Williamsburg, Virginia, and it was initially envisioned to be a stand-up paddleboard race, but they also decided to allow kayakers and surfskis enter. There I am adjusting my life jacket and my drinking tube, making sure everything is good to go. You saw me draining my shoes there just to keep some of the water out of the cockpit. Here we are paddling out to the starting line, which is that buoy at the end of this long pier. So we started at that buoy, and on the way back in, that was also the finish line where we had to paddle between the end of that dock and that buoy. Here I'm catching up to some of the kayakers and surf ski folks who had launched ahead of me. We're all just warming up a little bit before the start of the race, loosening up. And here you see the start of the race. All the 7-milers started together here in a shotgun start. A little bit of wave and chop at the beginning, mostly from the stand-up paddleboarders who kick up a fair amount of chop. But it was relatively smooth, very little motorboat traffic on this day, so I got off to a pretty good start, and I saw everybody starting to veer left there, and I saw some clear open water, flat water to my right, so I kind of cut right, because that's where my strengths are, really powering it in on the flat water. And I just kind of had a feeling that I wasn't really going too far out of the way. I wasn't getting into the shallows, and I felt fairly confident that I could narrow the gap on those lead surf skis that you see there once I got out into the smooth water. Here you see this start again from a different angle from the front of my boat. We're just chatting, just kind of grouping together under that bridge behind the starting line. Now this is tidal water, so the tide was actually working with us at the beginning of this race, so we got off to a really fast start. And there you see it, just what it looked like looking backwards at the start of the race. Now here you see I was able to start narrowing the gap between the lead surf skis. And I think this is Griff coming up here on my left. He's a great guy. I met him a few years ago at the Richmond Paddle Cup race. So we chatted a few minutes briefly as I ended up passing him. And then I think I had the number 1 through 6 boats ahead of him. So I was feeling good that I might be able to reel in number 6 and number 5. They seemed like they might be within reach. Number 1 and 2 had already established themselves as the leaders. They were way out in front. I already pretty much knew at this point there's no way I was going to catch up to them. But those were all surf skis ahead of me. And in this race, they only had 2 categories. One was for surf skis and one was for kayaks. All the rest was the stand-up paddleboarder. So for the double blade paddle people, it was either you're a surf ski or you're a kayak, and that was it. So I was the first kayak at this point. Only surf skis ahead of me. There you see a buoy marking the way. Here you see me trying to narrow the gap on paddler number 6. I really thought I was going to reel him in and pass him. This was still early in the race. But as it turns out, I never did. He started pulling ahead, and just slowly, by little, he created more and more of a gap. I cut a corner here thinking I could narrow the gap, and I did. Here's my route from a Relive app. You paddle up the Chickahominy River, then you go inland and you paddle around something called Gordon Island. Now this is again in Williamsburg, Virginia on the Chickahominy River. You go around this island and then you veer back to the start finish line. So that's what the map looks like overall. That's a 7-mile paddle. I turned on my GPS when I got into the boat, and then after I crossed the finish line, so I didn't really start it right just at the starting line and then when I finished. So I don't know exactly what my time was and exactly how many miles I paddled just for the race. Here you see us coming out from behind the island. There's one last buoy turn here. We go out back into the Chickahominy River and turn left and head back downstream toward the start finish line. And here you see me coming between that pier and that buoy to cross the finish line. I was under an hour for sure. And here you see the lead guys in the surf skis. I'm congratulating all them, telling them what a great paddle they had. It was a fun race. Here are my thoughts.
Hey guys, Dave here with you today. I'm at the start and the finish line for the Paddle Round the Island. Now that's round without an A on it, so I feel like this race needs either another vowel or a comma somewhere. But it's the Paddle Round the Island on the Chickahominy River in Williamsburg, Virginia. Just got off, 7-mile race. Got a little hot there at the end, sun came out, things were very, very warm, but it was a great race. No kayaks in front of me, so I think I came in first overall. I think first kayak, that is, 7th overall. There were some really great athletes in some really nice surf skis. I was just glad to keep number 4, 5, and 6 in my sight. I just couldn't catch up to them. So there's a lot of paddlers here, a lot of impressive boats, a lot of impressive paddlers, a ton of stand-up paddle boards, a lot of surf skis, not a ton of kayaks, but there were some really nice high-end kayaks, and of course a lot of fast plastic kayaks. But you know, it was a lot of fun. Of course, I was paddling my trusty Thunderbolt X here that you see behind me. Really fun race. I'm glad they did this. If you have a chance to do this next year, come do it. It's a lot of fun. There's like a 2 or 2.5 mile option and out and back, and then a 7-mile that goes around an island up there. It's a lot of fun. Get here next year. Bring your fastest boat or paddleboard, and let's go have some fun together. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.